Dastan, have you wondered how you could have found such a treasure? Are you not curious why an orphan from the streets would be chosen to become a prince? The gods have a plan for you, a destiny. There are those who would use the power of the daggers to destroy the world.
Time will erase everything.
It's a throwback to the old movies, to Lawrence of Arabia, and I love the old films, the David Lean films, and this is kind of a fantasy version of it. And, you know, Jordan did such a wonderful job, the game was so successful, and he came in with a wonderful pitch that we fell in love with.
Mike and I, and a lot of us in the cast, did have the bigger picture that Jerry had presented to us. And the beautiful thing about what Jerry presented to us is that it's such a springboard, Jordan and Jerry, that you can actually jump from it as high as almost saying, this is Shakespearean. And because we were given such a beautiful springboard, my wonderfully English self-deprecating man on my left had an absolute iron control over her journey of purity, his journey towards nobility, and my journey governed by envy and regret. And he kept us absolutely on course, because we were changing time zones sometimes twice a day. And sometimes, quite understandably, we'd say, I'm sorry, do I know this or do I not know this? And iron grip here said, no, I'll tell you what you do know, I'll tell you what you don't know, what you have and haven't seen. So we were dealing in levels of perception, in memory, in time, and in, as I say, not without trepidation, some leaps towards the Shakespearean stratosphere where we're all very happy and very energized.
I was hopeless. I was completely hopeless. I didn't realize to start with that it was a video game. And I asked Jerry whether that would be important. And he, I'm sure, he told me that it wouldn't be important, I shouldn't worry about it, and I think he lied. But what he was confident of was that I would not be shaken by having to obey a set of rules which I didn't understand at all. I tried to play the game. I could get him to run...
I'd love to have played with you.
What's that?
The game, because I was rubbish at it, but I bet you were.
No, it's terrible.
It's absolutely terrible.
I could get him to run 3 steps along a wall, and then he fell into the revolving knives.
Oh.
I could never get him out of the revolving knives.
That's quite good that you actually got him to move, though. Cause,
Oh, well. But then I just got my guys. I got my assistants to come along and play it for me, and we sort of cherry-picked it. You know, we saw that there were some things that were really interesting in the game, and we saw that there were other things that would be very, very difficult, and we cherry-picked it, and I hope that there is enough in there for the gamers to feel that they're represented, but not what I do know they feel, that there's never yet been a movie that they feel good enough about to say that is a proper movie of a video game. I hope we've broken that. You know, that constriction.
This is no ordinary dagger. Releasing the sand turns back time. Only the holder of the dagger is aware of what's happened. Did you see that?
It was the biggest role I'd had to date at that time, and it's always nerve-wracking doing something where you're the only female in the film. I felt particularly uncomfortable about that. But it was, you know, you get over all of your neuroses pretty quickly, because you just got so much work to do, and it was great. It was an honour to work with everybody.
But no, we just tried to have a movie set that, you know, runs smoothly, and, you know, people can have a good time even though they're working very hard in the heat, and I think that's because of Mike and our actors. They handled the set so well, and everybody had a good time, and that's what it's about.
I did as much of it as I could, and those pieces that I couldn't, which were really far far few between. All of the best, biggest stunts in the movie were done by me, and the most dangerous ones as well. I have been studying parkour since I was a young child, and so really a perfect role for me and a perfect fit, as well as I've always really wanted to play a prince. Some people might say that I am in a lot of ways a princess, and so I thought that playing a prince would be fitting. So the parkour, no. In reality, the parkour was a majority of the parkour was done by the acrobats in the movie, and a guy who was hired by David Bell, and then a man named Mark Fischera, who is a double of mine. But I did the fundamentals, and I did a lot of the landings, which are the hardest part on your knees and other parts of your body.
Such a noble prince, leaping to assist the fallen beauty.
I mean, that's one of the best things about this job, is that you go to all these places that maybe you wouldn't have gone to. I always wanted to go to the desert, but I don't think I'd have got round to it. And yeah, it's just a real treat. And and also it was hot, which it never is really here. So everyone was complaining about the heat, and I was quite happy about it, just soaking it up. It was just beautiful. Some of the landscapes there, and also it's so diverse in Morocco where we shot. You have the mountains, you have, the immense desert and sand, but a brilliant place to be. Had fun there.
No doubt. Speaking in a British accent, I think was the hardest part for me. I think it's daunting trying to do any service as an American to such a beautiful, fluid speech pattern that you all have, and we are just barbarians in comparison. And so for me, it did help being surrounded by an international crew, but primarily British and cast and somewhat British crew. And so I would speak every day. I would get out of the car and I'd have the accent on all day, and would sort of journey from region to region around England with a different person I would talk to, and I would mimic them, and sometimes I would sound like them in takes, and Mike would say, "Dear boy, you don't sound right. Do it again." Smashing. That's my favorite. That's my favorite line. Cut. That's when you know he was excited about a take. So yeah, I would say that the accent was more daunting. Give me the dagger!
How did you do that?
And those moments of vulnerability are what elevates Jerry's work and Mike's work from the norm. It will make this video game adaptation a tremendous success, because we allowed ourselves to be vulnerable to each other. That's a great currency amongst actors, off the set or on the set. Providing that's carefully fostered, then I think we're all going to have a wonderfully creative time.
You gave a very eloquent answer, but I'm just going to say that I took the piss out of Jake, and he took the piss out of me, and that's sort of what happened, wasn't it? And then it all came into the film, and I think it's good when you can. I mean, we all take our work very seriously, but I certainly don't take myself very seriously, and I think that Jake's the same. So we had fun, and I think that definitely you can see that in the film.
Did you a beauty?
There must be a reason why you can't take your eyes off me.
This is and was while we were shooting it, and continues to be for all the audiences around the world, such a huge, epic film that is like I've said this before, but walking onto set was like going into a sporting event. You felt like you were on the team. It took 40 minutes to put on my costume, at least I'll speak for myself, every morning. There were thousands of people there, like a massive army. And but when it came down to doing the physical stuff, you didn't even think about it because there was so much adrenaline going on. So for me, I was just pretty much excited the whole time. Anytime I had to jump off anything or beat somebody up, it was just so much fun. And in that way, I guess, different from other films that I've done.
Will we do a sequel? That depends on people showing up. If a lot of people show up to see this movie, I'm sure people at Disney will come back to us and say, maybe we'd like to do another one. And of course we would.